Hello everyone, welcome back to the part 2 of this video. This is a sewing video. I already have the pattern tutorials on my channel, so if you're interested in it, kindly watch till the end. So I used about 1.5 yards of crepe and then about 3 inches of the floral fabric, which is also crepe, or it's a shaky fabric. Any shaky fabric will do. So I added 1 inch at the side and then 1/2 inch on any other part. So the side is 1 inch and every other part is 1/2 inch. Take note of that. So after adding the 1/2 inch all round, I'll go ahead and then cut out. So take your time and cut out so that you don't make mistakes, since this fabric behaves a certain way when you are cutting out. So at this point I'm done cutting out, and what you have to do now is to mark the waist, the under bust and the chest lines. You indicate it with your pencil or your marker or your chalk so that you know where exactly you are joining together. That is what I have done on my fabric. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to join them together with right side facing each other. I'm going to be pinning them together, then take it to my machine and stitch. It is always advisable to pin together before stitching, especially when working with crepe. This is crepe and you know how it behaves. It has stretch, so take your time and pin it together before you stitch, or else one side might be longer than the other. So you see, I'm raising it to see the marked points before I pin together so that I don't make any mistakes. So take your time and do that. So after pinning them together, I'm going to take it to my machine and then stitch 1/2 inch, which is the seam allowance I added on that side. So I'll be doing the same thing for the back, and with the back there's an opening at the back where I'll be fixing my zipper. So I added 1 inch zipper extension to the center back and then 1 inch to the side and 1/2 inch to any other or every other part. So I'm repeating the same method I used in pinning the front. Make sure you make the marks so that when you are joining them together you don't make mistakes. So you can start by always joining the waist together before joining any other parts, or you do whatever works for you. So take your time and pin every part and then take it to the machine and stitch. After stitching, I'm going to open up the seam and press. I want the seam to lie down flat and look more professional, so I'm opening up the seam to press it down so that there won't be fold or folds at that area when I wear my outfit. So I'm taking my time to press every part so that the shape comes out nice. I'll be doing the same thing to the back. Open up the seams and then press every part of the seam so that it lies down flat, just like you see me doing. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to cut a facing for my top. So just fold a fabric under like I have done, and I'm going to be pinning it down, trace the neck area so that I can draw my or cut out my facing. So this is how you do it. After drawing it or marking it down, I'll go ahead and mark 2.5 inches down from the upper part down, so that I'll be stitching 1/2 inch, and the remaining size of the facing after stitching will be 2 inches. Take note of that. So I'll go ahead and then cut it out after marking or tracing it out so that I can fix it on my neck. So at this point, I'm going to open it up and then fix it so that you see what I'm talking about. So just place it on top of the neck area like this, with right side facing each other. Note we are stitching on the wrong side, so make sure the right side of the facing is meeting the right side of your top or whatever you're working on before you pin them together. Take it to your machine and stitch the 1/2 inch. I'll be repeating the same thing for the back. This is how it is. Just place your fabric under it, pin it down and trace it just like I did for the front. So I'm going to pin it down and then trace it out. Just watch or take note of what I'm doing. This is very easy to do, or you can actually do this on the brown paper if you don't want to go through all the stress after cutting out. So it all depends on you. So after tracing or marking it, I'll go ahead and cut it out. So since this is the back and it was cut on fold, after cutting everything out, I have to divide it into two so that I'll get my 2 pieces for the back. Take note of that. So after cutting it out, next thing I'm going to be doing is to place the back down just like you see me doing, and I'm going to be placing the facing on top of each other with right side facing each other. Pin it down, take it to my machine, and then stitch 1/2 inch around the neck area. So after stitching, this is what I have. Next thing you're going to be doing is to snip it like I am doing. You cut to the seam and not through the seam so that turning becomes easy. So after this, you can go ahead and top stitch or you leave it like that. It all depends on you. So next thing I'm going to be doing is to join the shoulders together. So pay attention to what I'm doing and you understand it well. Make sure the seam of the facing is meeting the seam of the back facing. I mean the seam of the front facing is meeting the seam of the back facing, so that you pin all together just like this and stitch 1/2 inch or whatever seam allowance you added. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to work on the side. So whatever seam allowance you added to it, make sure you mark it down and then take it to your machine and stitch. But before you stitch, make sure you pin it down. So the width of this fabric I am using is 60 inches plus. So since my tape measure is short, I have to continue with the measurement. So 60 inches plus 50 inches, 60 plus 50 making 110. So the length of the fabric you are going to attach depends on you. What I did was to add 5 inches from the waist like we added on the side seam. So if my length is about 40, I'm going to start from that particular line, 40, and then come down. I hope you understand. From the waist, you are going to measure 40 inches down. So after measuring the 40 inches down, remember we added 5 inches from the waist down at that particular side, so making 45 plus 2 inches for folding. So in all, I added 47 inches to the dress from the waist. So my length is 40 and I added 7 inches to it, making 47 inches because I'll be folding 2 inches in. Next thing I did was to make gathering stitches on the waist, and I'll go ahead and then pull it out. But then after pulling it out, you have to measure the hem of the upper part of the dress so that you can pull the gathers to that size. So let me show you. So you are going to open up the hem of this. This is the upper part and this is the lower part or the hem. So I'm going to be measuring all around around it, including the zipper extension. So I'm using my tape measure to measure it so that you can see what I'm talking about. So measure all round it this way. So this is what I have. So you are going to make sure you pull the gathers to the length or the size of the hem, and then after that go ahead and tie it up. Tie to the extent that it won't move when you are pulling the gathers. So after tying it, make sure you distribute the gathers, making it even on the fabric so that one side of the fabric won't get more gathers than the other. So make sure it is evenly distributed all round. So you can see I'm taking my time to do that so that everything goes well. So after pulling it to the size of your blouse, you are going to place it on top of it this way, with right side facing each other. Since you measured it and then pulled out the gathers, when you pin it down, it's going to end at the same level. One wouldn't be longer than the other. I mean, the top won't be longer than the skirt or the lower part of the top. So take your time and pin it down like this. Take it to your machine and stitch 1/2 inch all around it. So after that, I'm going to fold the side of the back, so making sure it is even. We are going to stitch the 1 inch you added at the back part of the dress. So you take your tape measure and mark your zipper extension before you stitch that 1 inch down. So I went ahead to stitch the 1 inch down, and then I folded my zipper extension, which is 1 inch in. I did my overlock, you can see. And the next thing I'm going to be doing is to fuse this hemmings at the neck area. You can decide to do hemming, it depends on you, but I want the easy way out, that's why I'm using this. So whatever works for you, you go ahead and do it. Next thing I'm going to be doing after fusing it is to measure the length of my dress. So at this point, I'll go ahead and measure from the shoulder to how long I want my dress to be. So let's say I want the length of my dress to be 57 inches. You are going to measure from the shoulder 57 inches, and then you are going to be adding extra 2 inches or 1 inch to it for folding. So from the shoulder or your shoulder, make sure you measure to the length of your top. If you want 60 or more, you go ahead and measure it. This is the reason why I made it longer than the actual length, so that I can decide how long I want it after fitting it to see if it is okay, or I'll trim some off. So that is it. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to unpick the side of the dress. So I unpick the side of both to about 2 inches. Unpick about 2 inches, and then you are going to use this to finish the armhole. So the width is about 2 inches, and then I folded it into 2. So I'll be stitching it all round, and after stitching all round, I'll show you what to do next. So after stitching all round, I went ahead to cut it off. I mean the bias. I went ahead to cut out the excess, or cut off the excess of the bias, and then the next thing I'm going to be doing after cutting is to fold it on top, or fold it in. Let me show you how I did it. So fold it in like this before you pin and stitch. So after stitching, next thing you'll be doing is to join the side you unpegged. The next thing to do from here is to finish the hem of the dress. So I'm actually done with the dress at this point. Next thing I'm going to be doing is to finish or fold your seam allowance in at the hem, and that will be all. After that, you go ahead and remove the the thread that is showing at the right side of your dress, and that'll be all for the tutorials. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and share my videos. See you another time. Bye.